Are you super confused about CMYK and RGB, and sometimes you create art in RGB and then you bring it into CMYK and the colors are super dull and now it looks ugly? Well, I'm here to show you my workaround on how to create CMYK-safe colors in Procreate so that when you bring your art from RGB to CMYK, it looks almost the same and you don't have unexpected surprises like when I change my super bright fruit into this horrible dull colored fruit. So let's get into it. This is a bonus lesson for my Create Your Signature Color Palette class. I will leave the link to it in the comments. Usually RGB is for web and CMYK is for print, but a lot of companies now are using RGB to print, and RGB has brighter colors. But if you do have to work with CMYK, how do you do this? Because Procreate has a weird way of working with CMYK. I don't understand why the colors are so muted in CMYK. But anyway, I'm going to show you my workaround for this. I'm creating a custom canvas here in Procreate. This is just like a basic slide size, 1920 by 1080p. It doesn't matter. It's 300 dpi, so it's great resolution. What matters here is the color profile. I usually work in RGB, not display P3, but the first RGB. So I am going to create that file and I'm going to draw in that file with very, very bright colors, which is usually what changes the most when you go from RGB to CMYK. So I have drawn some happy fruit here, and you'll see that I use super neon colors. If we go here to the color palette and we go to the classic view, you will see that the colors that I have chosen are super high up here. Usually these are the brighter colors that you can use in RGB, but that won't translate well into CMYK. So you'll see that that neon yellow is up here, and then I have this super like neon blue that could even, it's not even up here, it's here, but it's still very neon. And then I have that pink, same thing, very neon. And then I have this sort of neutral green here, and you'll see that that one won't change much. So let's say I create all my art here in RGB in Procreate and I want to move it to CMYK. Let's go to the gallery and let's create a new canvas that's the same size, but in the color profile, we're going to choose CMYK. So I'm going to choose this generic CMYK profile and create that one. So I'm going to exit this and I am going to go to my RGB file and drag this layer out and press gallery. Go to the CMYK file and I'm going to drop this in here, and this is what happened. So different. If we go to the colors here, we can still see our RGB colors here, this one, and this one for the bright colors, and you'll see how different this looks. So this looks super, super muted. Right now, because this is a CMYK file, if I choose this yellow, for example, you'll see that it's very far from the color I wanted. So this is why I never work in CMYK in Procreate. I work in RGB, and then usually I take my art into Photoshop, and then there I will color manage. But I'm going to show you in Affinity Designer. You can use Illustrator, you can use Photoshop, whatever you use. I'm going to show you how to do this. Let me take a screenshot of that. And I'm going to paste that screenshot here so that you can see it side by side. This is the RGB and this is the CMYK. So I'm going to show you what I do in case I need CMYK files and I need to create CMYK-safe colors so that this doesn't happen, because if you send this to a client and then they print this or they open a file and it looks like that, they're going to be very disappointed. The first thing to have in mind, as I mentioned in my class, is to try to not choose colors that are super high up here, because these ones are usually not CMYK safe. And the second way you can do this is you can take a screenshot of your palette that you created in RGB in Procreate. And then I'm going to save it to photos. And I'm going to use Affinity Designer and create a new document. Let's say print, and Here in the color space, I'm going to choose CMYK-8. And you would do this again in any program that you use. Just make sure that you're creating a file in CMYK. And now what I'm going to do is go to my photos and grab that file we created, and I'm going to drag it. And here I'm going to find Affinity and I'm going to drop it in there. And you will see that the colors changed, but not as much as in Procreate. See, I have added the ones on Procreate to this side so that you can compare. So let's say that this is my color palette. I'm going to bring it here. So if I screenshot this and save it, and I come to Procreate and I add this to my RGB file, you will see that the colors are now more muted. So now I use these colors to create my palette. And that way, if you see here, they're not so bright. See, that one's the new one and this is the new one. And this way, when you open these colors in a CMYK file, they will look much more similar to what they look like here. It's not an exact science, but it's a workaround. So now I've recolored these ones using the colors that I know are more CMYK-safe. So now if I bring these into that CMYK file, let's drag it out. You'll see that the colors don't change. So that's my workaround for working with colors that will look very similar when I bring things into CMYK. Another little tip and trick is that when you have a CMYK file and you want it to be a bit more vibrant, you can go to the hue, saturation, brightness and just increase the saturation a bit. It won't be the same as RGB, but it definitely makes the colors more saturated if that's what you're looking for. So I hope this helps you understand. It's a bit confusing, it's a bit technical, and it's a workaround that I've come up with. If you know other ways to do these, please leave it in the comments or in the discussion area. I would love to hear how you do this. See you soon. Bye.